Hello, welcome to Poetry Changes Lives. Here we are again, poetry, history, thought for the day, come rain or shine, in the garden, putting a bit of beauty into my poor, struggling mind, which is so full of junk. It needs a bit of daily input of something nice and some nice imagery and some new ideas and a bit of, perhaps, dare I say, mysticism and spirituality. And on what's going to be a very hot day in London town, I'm getting myself ready for all the daily frustrations and challenges that happen even in my mundane life. But reading a poem every day really helps me get into the right sort of attitude, and I recommend it to anyone. I really hope you try it. poetrychangeslives.com is the website. You can read more about all this poetry stuff. You can sign up to receive a daily email totally free with this reading and all kinds of other information. And you can buy the book there as well if you wish, or you can just go into a bookshop and read and order it, or go to Amazon. You know, I think it makes a nice companion, nice present to give your loved ones, or even your colleagues at work. Who knows? Let me demonstrate. I'm going to read one of my all-time favorite poems today, so I'm quite excited, actually. I love this. And I love this writer I'm going to mention in today's reading, because on this day in 1803, the American writer and poet Ralph Waldo Emerson was born. Gosh, a very great man in my view. He's known today as a leader of the Romantic movement in the United States, and among other things he wrote the well-known Concord Hymn that features on the Concord Monument. I think it's staggering in its simplicity, but its underlying meanings about consequences and all that sort of thing. Let me read at the beginning of it. It begins, "By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled, here once the embattled farmers stood, and fired the shot heard round the world." That poem, it always stops me in my tracks. I just, that last line I find very, very significant and powerful. And if you look at it, it's very simple words. Every single word of that last line is of one syllable. And fired the shot heard round the world. Yet there's so much underlying meaning about consequences and what was going on in people's minds and what happened, and history and change and challenge and response to challenge. So much behind those simple words. It just always stops me in my tracks. And fired the shot heard round the world. Well, that's just the beginning, because Emerson wasn't simply about patriotism and doing the right thing and standing up for one's beliefs. He was into more than that. Very interesting man. He was ordained as a pastor, but he actually eschewed organized religion in favor of transcendentalism, a very interesting movement that he was instrumental in starting. Here I'm going to read one of his strange but astonishingly beautiful, mind-opening, magical, mystical poem, Brahma, which I find wonderful. It's one of my top 10 poems ever written, because I just love its context, the way it challenges my mind, my idea of spirituality, my my view of life and afterlife and the universe and higher power in the universe and God and all these fundamental things that is very unusual to find in Western poetry. Western poetry is so much about me and how am I dealing with my emotions and all that. But Eastern poetry is much more sort of calm and spiritual and contemplative. And I think Emerson bridges the gap between the two wonderfully. And parts of this poem is so, to me, reminiscent of those wonderful Middle Eastern people like Rumi or Kabir, you know, just people that are so different from the likes of the Romantic movement in Victorian times, for example. But Emerson, to me, he was such an interesting man, and this poem, I could read it every day of my life and find something to meditate on every day. I don't know if you've come across it before. This is Brahma by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Just take it in slowly and think about it. Maybe read it again. Here we are. If the red slayer think he slays, or if the slain think he is slain, they know not well the subtle ways I keep and pass and come again. Far and forgot to me are near. Shadow and sunlight are the same. The vanished gods to me appear, and one to me are shame and fame. They reckon ill who leave me out. When me they fly, I am the wings. I am the doubter and the doubt, and I the hymn the Brahmin sings. The strong gods pine for my abode, and pine in vain the sacred seven. But thou, meek lover of the good, find me and turn thy head on heaven. I can't read that without finding myself very, very affected by it. It's got so much that I find fascinating to ponder on: the power in the universe, the power that we have no real concept of or understanding about. And as this poem says, what we believe is probably the complete opposite of what is really it's concerned with higher power. It's paradoxical, the whole concept of life and afterlife. And as he says in the poem, you know, if shadow and sunlight are the same, far and forgot to me is near. They reckon ill who leave me out. When me they fly, I am the wings. I am the doubter and the doubt, and I the hymn the Brahmin sings. Just so much that we cannot ever know, but we must keep inquiring and keep our minds open. But keeping an open mind doesn't mean just having a vast empty wilderness in your head. You've got to fill it with new ideas and thoughts and meditate on things and try to at least seek the meaning of some of these eternal truths that we're all part of, as well as not even understanding. It's just, to me, I just love thinking about all these paradoxes and powers, and you know, where the unknown is so different from reality, and yet in some ways so so basic to reality. Well, I leave you with that today. Today I will remember that the truth is not always readily apparent, but with perseverance it can be found. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you all a good and happy day. See you tomorrow.